Today, I'm talking about 3 tools to help you optimize your workflow, reduce friction and resistance when it comes to writing, and to help you create faster. If you're new to the channel, my name is Aaron. I am a 3-time self-published author, and on this channel, I discuss the writing process and document my journey towards becoming a traditionally published author. By the way, if you're here looking for AI software, tools, anything like that, go ahead and just click off because this video and this channel is not for you. The first tool, I didn't realize how much of a game changer it would be until I got it. And that is a big, sturdy desk. So let me paint a picture for you. 7 years ago, I decided I wanted to get back into writing after only doing college essays, all this stuff like that. So I was 23 years old and I did what I could with what I had. I didn't have a lot of space. I didn't have a lot of money. So I bought a super cheap probably $20 desk from Walmart, and I sat in an outdoor camping chair, like a fold-in camping, just fabric camping chair. And it wasn't comfortable. I was all crouched over at crazy angles. The desk was wobbly. It was very, very tiny, only had barely enough space for my laptop and a mouse. So no room for water, no room for notebooks or decorations, anything like that. It was the bare minimum, but it worked. I was able to get a lot of writing done, and I'm very, very grateful that I was able to at least have that. Now, fast forward to the present, and I have a large flat desk that has been an absolute game changer. I didn't have to spend a lot of money on it. Probably I spent $50. Look around on Facebook Marketplace, or I don't know, probably not eBay because you'd have to ship it, but just find something local. It's a desk. It doesn't have to be fancy. Again, mine, it's just big flat piece of wood essentially, but it's sturdy. It has a ton of room, which is really helpful for reducing the mental clutter. I now have space for an external monitor. I have space for a nice mechanical keyboard, and I can keep my water on it. I'm a hydro homie, so you always got to have that water. I'm going to write that up there right now, actually. But just being able to have extra space meant I could have things spread out. It was open and clean, and so it didn't all just feel so claustrophobic. Aside from that, with a slightly upgraded chair, it's still a Walmart chair, but it's a lot more comfortable. It's not a camping chair. With that, I'm able to forget that I'm sitting at a desk, which just helps me get into flow easier, and I don't have to worry about crossing my legs, uncrossing my legs, stretching out, getting cramps, looking like the Hunchback of Notre Dame with just all these weird angles and uncomfortableness. So you forget that you're actually sitting at a desk when you have a nice office setup. And of course, it's going to be way better for your body in the long run if you get ergonomical stuff, which basically just means like stuff that supports the body your way it's supposed to be. So avoid carpal tunnel, avoid like looking your neck down or looking your neck up, just everything nice and neutral. Or I don't use it, but you could try getting a standing desk. Do what you can with what you have right now, and you can absolutely be a very productive writer. But as soon as you have the money or the space to do so, I would highly, highly recommend getting a large, sturdy, long-term desk and a nice office chair. It has just been an absolute game changer for my productivity and letting me write without worrying about other things. The next tool that you absolutely are going to want to have in your writer's toolbox is an idea capture system, because inspiration can strike at any point, and you want to be able to be sure that you can write that idea down, get it out of your brain and onto the paper. Because for me, 9 times out of 10, if I'm walking around and I come up with an idea, if I don't jot it down within the next 2 minutes, it's gone, and I'll just never remember it again, into the ether. So having a dedicated idea capture system is paramount to keeping creative ideas churning and making sure that your brain doesn't get clogged up with trying to remember things. That's not your brain's job. Your brain's job is to come up with ideas, and you use something else to write those ideas down and hold them for you. For years, I used physical journals and sticky notes, scrap pieces of paper, or even envelopes, like the backs of envelopes, anything, again, anywhere where I had an idea, I'd say, grab the nearest thing I could and write it down. Just old mail, whatever, boom, right on the back of that. But the problem with that is it would get really messy and chaotic. And on my desk, which is a very big desk, by the way, it would just be unorganized chaos. Like I would lose papers, I wouldn't know what's where, and then I just have just a bunch of paper waste that I've nothing else to do with. So what I now use is an e-ink device called the Supernote Nomad. And there is a bunch of other competitors to this. I think Remarkable is probably the main one. Amazon Kindle of some sort, Kindle Scribe maybe, is another one. I'm very, very happy with the Supernote Nomad. It probably cost me $300 or $400, which I realize is a very big purchase, but it's been well worth it to me. I only got it about 6 months ago. If you're curious, this is what it looks like. Opens up like that. And the reason I like this, they have different sizes. The Manta is the other one. But I really like this one because this is a physical notebook. It's almost the same size, a little bit smaller because of the screen, obviously. The best feature of the Nomad and other similar e-ink devices is that essentially they function as having unlimited notebooks or journals. There's a bajillion templates you can get, and essentially you can create these documents. You're never going to run out of space. They can also work as an e-reader. So if you're big into Kindle or whatever, it can do the same thing. What I really like to use it for here is you can upload PDFs and documents to it. So I can take a scene or a chapter that I'm working on, upload it to my Nomad, and then I can still physically write in the margins and my corrections and notes and ideas. Because for me, revising digitally, I have a lot of trouble doing big picture stuff like that because I like to circle and draw arrows and do, again, very old school, like the pen and paper style. So being able to upload PDFs to the Nomad has been incredible. A really nice thing about this is that because it doesn't have an actual screen, the battery life is insane, especially if you turn off Wi-Fi. So I've never really had an issue of running out of battery or being like, oh, I need to charge it every other day. Nothing like that. The battery, it's great. It's literally is just almost a perfect one-to-one replication of a physical journal. Finally, something that can't be ignored is just the cool factor. I really like the look of it. And you can get different ones. This is the one I got. Is this, I think it's super, super cool. Oh, let it focus, maybe. All right, whatever. But you can kind of see it's this gold and green pen, and it's got a lot of weight to it. It just feels really good writing with it. It clips in, boom, perfectly like that. Not gonna fall out. And whenever I bust this out in a coffee shop or if I'm at the airport, anything like that, I just feel like the coolest person ever. It's like, oh, he's a writer. It's like, you damn right I am. And just an example case usage before we move on is I was on a recent flight back from my honeymoon, so it was a long international, big flight, and I actually finished the first draft of the novel I'm working on right now. So with nothing else to work on for that project, I busted out this bad boy and just started writing down just a huge brain dump of ideas for a completely unrelated story. I don't know if I'll ever write it, but they were coming to me. I was in the moment. So if I did that in a physical journal or just on a scrap piece of paper, I know for a fact that I would misplace it, or I would go to look to find it and I couldn't. And then a year later, I would find it when I'd already moved on to a different idea. So I don't know if I will ever write that story, but the point is I have it right here. I know exactly where it is. And I also have my workout logs, daily routines, anything that you could ever do with a physical piece of paper or a journal is almost perfectly Jesus Christ. You can do it on this as well. Final tool on my list for productivity and just making the writing process as smooth as possible is actually a piece of software. And if you're working on novel, you've probably heard of it. It is Scrivener. Scrivener. It is just so incredible. It is a one-time purchase, first of all, because we all have a bajillion subscriptions, and it's very frustrating to say the least. A one-time purchase, I believe it is around $60, but it could be triple the price, and I think it would still be an absolute steal. So if you're interested, highly would recommend it. If you're unfamiliar, it is a word processor. It is a word processor similar to Microsoft Word or Google Docs. But this was designed with novel writing in mind, as far as I know. That's obviously what it feels like. And either of those other options are fine. I used them for years, but I just think that Scrivener has just way more dedicated features that people who are serious about writing and who are working on huge projects are going to find way, way handy. I know there's other competitors to Scrivener, but I haven't used them, so I cannot speak on their goodness for word writing. I'm still very much a noob when it comes to Scrivener, but here's some of the features I like the most and that I've found really cool and gotten some use out of. The biggest one is, of course, that you can compile your writing as a manuscript. So this means that you're able to write and make it however you want to write it. You do it in Comic Sans if you're a psychopath. But when you're ready to send it off to agents, critique groups, whatever, you compile it and it will do all the formatting you need as a professional manuscript with just the click of one button. The feature I use probably the most, or have found the most useful, is project and session targets. So you can say, I want my, You can say, I want my book to be 100,000 words and I want to write 500 words a day or per session every time you open and close the program. So there's this little bar at the top, and every time you write a word, depending on your total goal, so we'll say 100,000 total, 500 per day. So that's 2 bars actually. So your daily one fills up until you hopefully reach that every time you're writing. And slowly over the course of probably months or years, my first draft took, probably 2.5 years, which isn't that fast, but it is what it is, and it's done now. That slowly fills up, which I found to be a huge motivator, just to see the percentages that you're at. It's like, oh, I'm 10% done with my book. I'm 25%, 50% done with my book. Again, it's a long process, so I found little things like that to be very motivating and just like, oh yeah, like celebrate the little milestones. Like, yeah, you did it. Something I don't use a terribly lot, but I know a lot of other people do, and I've dabbled. Like I said, I'm still pretty new with this program, but is like character profiles and also world building stuff. So there's tons of templates, again, that you can get with this, where it's just a separate part over here. You have your story, blah, 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 different chapters and scenes. And then right below that, you can say, here's this character, and you can have all the information. You can put pictures of them. So if you're in the middle of writing something, you need to think, oh, how does this character speak? Or what is that one little piece of information about their backstory? Boom, you can click on it, see it right there. Go right back to what you're writing. Same for locations. Again, any world building, anything like that. It's essentially, you can kind of make your own little Wikipedia within your story, and it doesn't, you tell it not to compile when you do your manuscript. So it's always there, but you don't have to worry about, deleting it or hiding it later when you're ready to ship out your final product. Scrivener also has a dialogue focus mode, or something like that it's called. I don't know. We'll just call it that for now. Dialogue focus, but essentially you can adjust how much you want the rest of the text to disappear, except for things in quotation marks, which can be really handy for seeing how the actual dialogue flows and just concentrating on the words characters are saying to each other instead of worrying about dialogue tags or action beats, anything like that. You can just focus strictly on the words. Of course, a huge thing with Scrivener is just being able to move your scenes around, drag, reorganize them with just a click of a button. Just literally drag it where you need it to be. It's that easy. I also love having a scene summary or notes to yourself available right in the little corner as you're writing. So you can say, I need to hit this beat, and this beat while you're typing up the main story. Or you can say, this is the emotion I'm going for. This is the current tension I'm building, the conflict, whatever little, it's like having essentially like an index card always ready for each scene as you're writing, a quick reference for anything. Finally, and debatably the most useful feature of Scrivener is, gotta crouch down for this one, it's snapshot feature, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. For each scene, if you're gonna make a huge change or revision to it, you can say, click, take a snapshot, then go do whatever you want, cut it to pieces, hack it apart, kill your darlings by all means. And if you don't like it, you can just revert, and you can have multiple different snapshots. Revert the old version without worrying about, I'm going to save this specific version of this specific scene in a separate text folder and having to go retrieve it and do this again. All of the things Scrivener can do are completely and totally possible with Microsoft Word, Google Docs, LibreOffice, whatever it is you may want to use. But for a mere $60, and I realize for everyone, $60 is not a small amount, but it's a reasonable one-time fee. For $60, you get all these features and so many more that I have not even scratched the surface of this program, because probably about a year ago is when I got it. But like I said, I'm still such a beginner. I don't do nearly half the things that this program is capable of, and I'm still so in love with it. As I said previously, I think it could be 3 or 4 times the price and it would still be very, very well worth it. If you're working on a writing project and you need a little direction or structure, you can check out this video to see how to plan an entire year of writing in under 20 minutes. And if nobody has told you recently, I believe in you. If you enjoyed this or found it useful, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment. What are the most helpful tools you use on your writer's journey?